Welcome to another episode of Core Recaps. My name's Legacy.
And I'm Max.
I'm Bobby.
Fiveman J.
All right, as you've known it, we are now into week 8. It was high scoring. I think offenses are now getting into stride. All right, we're gonna go into our Thursday night game. It was the Ravens over the Buccaneers, 27-22. Another game where the Bucks got stuff at the end, but it still
It was never a game.
wasn't looking pretty. Yeah.
The Bucks suck.
Yeah, they're doo-doo.
I mean, who saw this coming?
I still think they won the division. I don't know. This team's like gonna enter the wild card and probably lose their first playoff game.
I mean, this is what Tom Brady came back for. This is just
This
sad.
dude lost his whole personal life over one more season. And it's this season.
He's never going to retire now. He's not going to retire this stinker this season.
He's gonna stay. He's staying for another year, definitely.
I don't think it's gonna be with the Buccaneers though.
He was really going to want him, though.
Going back to New England.
Yeah, no, he's gonna go. He's going to San Fran.
But they have Trey Lance. That's the only thing.
He can hold the clipboard for one more year.
Yeah, true. I'm not fully sold on him. I don't know. I think he goes back to the Bucks. I'd be surprised if he leaves. There's a lot of teams that are like probably a semi-quarterback away, and that's what it is sometimes. It's not been a great year, but the bye week's coming up. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully get through a couple games, and luckily it's looking like 8 games will probably win this division. So
On the plus side, he's only thrown one interception this whole year, but he just doesn't look like his usual great self. He just doesn't look good this year.
run game looked a little bit better than it's been looking. That's one of the only pluses, but
It's still
yeah,
like,
and also, sorry, who got hurt? He got hurt for the Buccaneers.
Oh,
Oh,
Shaquille Barrett.
Barrett
Yeah,
going down
yeah,
for the
towards.
season. That's a hit.
oh,
That
he's
is
out
a
for the
big-
season. Wow.
Yep.
Hey, towards Achilles or something.
I didn't even know that.
Also, but you got that for the Ravens, though, aren't they now first place in their division with this win?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what I was saying for the Ravens. This was a must-win game. You had losing to this Tampa Bay team was not an option.
They pulled it out.
They held on to a fourth quarter lead. Not they've blown so many this year already.
Yeah, they finally did it. So
And then the next 2 games, next 3, 4 actually: Saints, Panthers, Jaguars, Broncos, then Steelers. That is a good schedule coming up for them. Easy.
I will say, Mike Evans, 123 yards.
And he didn't drop a touchdown this week. He didn't get
Whatever.
one.
Well, actually, he can drop as many touchdowns as long as he gets that 1,000 yards. That's all I require.
Lamar Jackson did have 238 passing yards, 2 TDs, and 43 rush yards. So, I will say also their rush game, because they did run for 231, and it was pretty much their running at will on the Buccaneers, which that used to be one of the better things of the Bucks is they had a really good run defense. So that's also been that's also another cause for concern for them.
Play the Rams and
They play the
Seahawks.
Rams, and then they're on bye. So we'll see. Again, the Rams haven't looked that great either. So
No. Another
Yeah.
positive for the Ravens, they just traded for Roquan Smith, so that defense is going to get even better. They got him and Patrick Queen for linebackers. Pretty nasty.
that is nasty. Hopefully, they can improve that secondary because that's been one of their issues.
Yeah. No, it doesn't help that, but still, it helps a little bit.
All right, we're going to go into the next game. To Kitten Corner, a battle for the first place in the division. The Panthers losing to the Falcons, 37-34. It was a shootout. DJ Moore, 152 yards and a touchdown. PJ Walker putting up stats. Same with Foreman, rushing for 3 touchdowns, but they just couldn't get the job done.
When you say they, you mean the kicker.
Yeah.
And that's the kicker.
Yeah,
Panera was
being-
brutal.
No, I was
I won't be
being nice.
surprised if he gets his walking paper soon. That's an extra point. And
They were in a dome. There's no excuse for missing that. You're in a dome.
PJ Walker by far had a much better game than any game of Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield's not going
Yeah.
to sniff the field again this year.
no.
So, unfortunately for you Panthers fans, because he was going to lock up that number 1 pick.
Yeah.
But in the end, even though the Panthers lost this game, in the end, it's going to be a better thing for the Panthers in the long run because there's no need to win this game and potentially win this division. There's just no hope in that. So losing this game will, even though it hurt the way they lost, it's going to be better for them in the long run.
So I'm fine with the loss. I mean, Obviously, I wanted to beat the Falcons 'cause I don't like the Falcons, but no, it's a
Yeah.
lost season anyway, so it's not gonna hurt my feelings. It's not like when the Falcons beat the Panthers during the 15-1 season. That hurt more.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say shockingly, or probably makes sense that the offense looks better right now without McCaffrey. Probably because the offensive coordinator McAdoo is not just game playing only for McCaffrey.
Yeah, you actually have to do, not try to do a traditional game plan.
Which I love McCaffrey. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best running backs in football. I love to have him on the Panthers, but if McAdoo was going to call that type of offense, and he was best off in San Francisco.
Just think of how bad your division is when the Falcons are winning at 4-4.
Yeah, they'll be one of the worst playoff teams I've ever seen.
Oh, so the NFC East has given away their title for worst division and gave it to the NFC South.
The worst team in both the AFC East and NFC East is 4-4, so their worst team would be leading the Panthers division.
That's just the way it is.
So-
I mean, I like how this team plays under Steve Wilkes. They look much better prepared than under Matt Rule.
They look like a professional football team.
8 wins will win you this division.
You might not even need that many.
You might just need 6.
You need 8 just to have some cushion.
Just to lock that in.
Yeah.
I do see the Panthers probably winning a few more games just because they seem to be playing a lot better under Wilkes.
Yeah.
So they won't get one of the franchise quarterbacks in the draft, but that's fine. I
Yeah,
guess.
I like Wilkes. If he keeps it up the rest of the year, I wouldn't mind if just seeing what they have with him. But
I
yeah,
still think he
they
got
really,
raw
they
during
really need to
Arizona.
get because I mean it's always unless like the coaches like Urban Meyer are bad to get them only 1 year. That's just not
Oh, or Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, yeah. If you're
Wow.
Nathaniel Hackett, definitely you should be be sent home.
Which I guess we could segue into that game. The Broncos did beat the Jaguars 21-17, but I don't think anyone was as impressed with either team after that game.
No.
The only thing that was impressive was really Travis Etienne in that game. And I will give Russell some credit. He had some clutch throws at the end, especially the deep ball to KJ Hamler. But in the end, these are two teams that we expected more of, and they still looked pretty rough in this game. So I still don't see really much of a future in this for anyone, at least especially this season. The Broncos did show that they are giving up on the season by trading Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins. So that kind of shows that they're like, yeah, this season's not going
And
to go the
then
way we thought.
they traded for a running back when they already have like 3. They had Mike Boone, Melvin Gordon, and Latavius Murray.
And I do like the Jaguars trade for Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, that's
He's not going to do anything for him this year, obviously, because he's suspended. But next season, that could be a little exciting receiver group they got there.
Yeah, that was a good move by them. I will say for the Broncos, I mean, it's not a lot, but it does somewhat keep them in. That was like a must-win if they at all hope for playoffs. Granted, it's a long shot, but that was a real big must-win.
But they still didn't play in a way that I think they have any shot.
No.
I think it still was like ugly. And
it was.
it's the same issues that have been there the whole season are still there. In fact, the Broncos, for the projecting long term, I don't know where Russell wants playing. Unless he really drastically improves the second half of the season, they're probably thinking, we made a franchise-altering mistake. And then on the other side, with Trevor Lawrence, he's got to pick up his play. He has regressed back to his rookie year the past few weeks. And the Jaguars may be thinking, now he's going to get another year. But it's not promising that he's starting to trend downward. Again, that interception he had in the goal line was terrible. An awful decision.
Started off the year on a hot
Yeah, they started off
streak.
really well.
He looked great. In the Jaguars' 5-game losing streak, Trevor Lawrence has 4 passing touchdowns, 5 picks. So that's in 5 games. So that's really, really bad. 1 pick a game and under 1 passing touchdown per game after he started 6-1 in the first 3 games.
Not good. Not good.
Not the right trajectory we want to see.
Now they got no shot at the division.
We really whiffed on their projection after they beat the Chargers.
Yeah.
We thought they were going up,
I was
man.
like, that's 10 wins. No, we're looking to get 5 at this point.
And they should have beat the Broncos. They were outplaying them for the majority of the game, but
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence's poor decision-making really cost them that game.
Let's go into our next game, a divisional rivalry. My Patriots over the New York Jets, bringing them a little bit back down to earth. Bill Belichick doing it against the Jets, winning over them. Better second half from the Patriots because they started out really rocky a little bit at first, but got it done. The takeaways I have from this is Mac Jones' regression does not look good. Though I did somewhat expect it because of the receiving talent, and I'm still not sure of like your offensive coordinator choices. I mean, the run game was good, but still.
He doesn't look good this year. I mean, that's just not sugarcoat it. No matter what the reason is, he doesn't look good. But we said it on last week's show. We actually said we thought the Patriots would win this game because we weren't buying the Jets whatsoever. I don't know, fellas. I'm just not seeing that with Zach Wilson. Maybe some of you are, but I really don't see them making playoffs.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're making playoffs.
They're not winning division, and if you don't win division, I think you're just gonna you need 10 wins to guarantee yourself playoffs, and I don't think they're gonna get 5 more wins.
No, I don't see it either.
Especially like with Brees Hall, you're also seeing. I think last game was showing you how Brees Hall was killing it, and with that injury, you kind of start seeing how the effect.
Yeah, the run game for the Jets was pretty bad. 51 yards total for the game.
They might be. I mean, unfortunately for them, they might have work themselves into a way where they're going to give Zach Wilson another year. I don't I'm with you, Matt. I have not thought this guy's it, and I would move off of him. But unfortunately, they might win too much that they would. They can't get a top 2 quarterback. They can't get a top 2 quarterback. Yeah, so they might have to stick with him for one more year, which would be the Jets thing to do. And while they were winning, I was like, on them, it's good they're winning, but you might play yourself out of getting a better quarterback that you need. But, maybe Zach Wilson proves me wrong, but I don't think so. We're going to go into a pretty lopsided, high-scoring game. None of us should be surprised. It was the Bears losing to the Dallas Cowboys. Pollard, what a season, man.
He's been really good.
He had 14 carries, 131 yards, 3 TDs. Dak Prescott was doing well. The Cowboys' run game keeps going. They're kind of doing. I mean, they're throwing the ball a little bit more than when they had Cooper Rush, but really they're doing just run the ball and also their good defense.
Dallas may be the Eagles' biggest threat in the NFC, Max.
Dallas, I'm still not worried about them. I'm not worried about Dallas. But you know what they do? But you know what they do in the playoffs, right?
Hey, maybe it's a different year. Maybe it's their year.
We say that every year. It was supposed to be their year last year. They lost to the 49ers, a team that they were better than.
Oh, maybe this is the year. You just don't know these things, man.
And also the year before that, and the year before that. I mean, I hear this.
Eventually, they're bound to be right.
But I will give them, the defense has done well. They have a great run game. Those are 2 of the pieces. Dak Prescott, he's a upgraded game manager at this point. This is what you need sometimes. It's enough to get you where you need to. And again, the NFC looks a little really
weak.
It's really weak. Like beyond the Eagles right now.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
I don't really know who else I'm giving the star to.
There's really in NFL only 3 truly dominant teams this year: is the Eagles, Bills, and Chiefs. I know the Vikings are 6-1, but I don't think anyone's buying them as a legit contender. Because as we said, when the lights get bright, they're sitting somebody doesn't like it.
Let's go into another game. It was the Miami Dolphins over the Detroit Lions. Tua with 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards, 188 yards from Tyreek Hill. And that team just traded Chase Edmonds, which was a good trade because they weren't really using him, and a first-round pick to get Bradley Chubb.
Chase Edmonds hasn't been good like this year. He's at like a 2.9 average.
And they got Bradley Chubb, which to shore up that defense. So some good moves, man.
Yeah, what a season from Tyreek. I mean, he is definitely threatening that reception yard record. I think let me see what he's on pace for.
Especially now they have the extra game.
Well, yeah, with the 17-game schedule, which I guess he's not on pace. If it was 16 games, he wouldn't break it. But if he plays 17 games, he's projected for 2,042 yards. Could you imagine seeing 2,000 yards in the stat line?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Let's see what Waddle's projected. He's projected 1,500, so you got a 2,000 yard receiver and a 1,500 yard receiver.
I wonder if people are going to give Tua some credit now because people were trying to wonder if he's a starter.
He's counting. He's answered those questions. I mean, like I said this in a previous show, if he couldn't do it with these weapons, he's proven that he wouldn't be a starter. I think most quarterbacks would do well, but he played extremely well this game. And this was a competitive game with the Lions, and he was 29 for 36, 382 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He was nearly perfect. So,
Yep.
he's showing them that they're no joke. And I saw this earlier about after they made the trade for Bradley Chubb. The Trey Lance trade, when they traded back with the 49ers, essentially they got 3 first-round picks, but throughout the maneuvering of those picks, they've gotten Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, and Jalen Waddle out of those for Trey Lance.
Oh, nice.
So I
mean,
think they won that trade. That's
that
amazing.
is an absolute home run. I'm not sure who the GM is. Kudos to you because you are nailing these draft picks or trading these picks for players.
Chris Greer.
Chris
Max.
Greer.
No,
Yeah,
I
Chris
beat you.
Greer, man.
I beat you.
Awesome job. And I like the Bradley Chubb move because you can see why they made that move. Since they're one of the better teams, they know that the biggest thing they need to do is make sure they can get a pass rush on Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes because that's going to be the difference of them going to the Super. That's their biggest threats right now.
The Dolphins' offense is potent. You got 2 daily wide receivers, a good tight end.
Mhm.
With Bradley Chubb, that defense should get better. I mean, Dolphins, they're going to be scary. I mean, you can't sleep on them.
And the next few games are definitely winnable games. Bears, Browns, Texans, Niners.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the only question mark right now would be Tua's health. If he can stay healthy the rest of the season.
Right. I mean, you can say it for any player, though. But as far as the Lions are concerned, they're toast. Unfortunately, fellas, I think Dan Campbell's not going to make it the whole season.
If I'm the Lions, I might hold on to him.
Yeah, what do you have to
Even though
lose?
he'd be bad, well, one, I'm not getting better. 2, let me make sure, like, even if he's bad, let me make sure I get one of those top picks because I need a new, like, I'm going to have to restart probably. I'm going to need to restart stuff.
When they got some good pieces, but they just traded T.J. Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings, which is kind of a rare in division
I
trade.
don't know about that.
I feel that's a rebuilding move, and it's kind of like probably getting rid of Goff this season. Is
For
what
sure.
I think. So why not at least?
That's going to be
guarantee
what
you're gonna
saves
get
Dan
the
Campbell
quarterback.
is if maybe he could be like, well, if we get a quarterback, franchise quarterback in the draft, maybe, they'll turn the season around.
Let's go into the next game. It is the Minnesota Vikings once again pulling out another win over the Arizona Cardinals. 100 rushing yards from Dalvin Cook with 1 TD. Hopkins coming back and leading the league. Since these past 2 games, he's led the league in receptions and yards, I believe. Coming back, still showing he's not washed. The man's just a beast, There's an English saying that says form is temporary, but class is permanent. This man is showing that he is true class.
Beautiful.
He's looking good, but as the Cardinals do, after Call of Duty gets released, they struggle.
Kyler Murray had 2 picks, which in a 1-score game, huge difference maker. Because I don't think Minnesota had a turn. They did have 1 turnover. Kirk Cousins turned it over, but the Cardinals had 3 total to 1. So I mean, it was a competitive game, but Cardinals losing another game, falling to 3-5. It's looking pretty dicey for playoffs if they start losing many more games they can't really afford to. And as we just mentioned with Dan Campbell, Cliff Kingsbury's seat, as we keep saying every week, getting a little warm. They play the Seahawks this week, then the Rams, then the 49ers. So that's 3 division games. If they go 1-2, done. I think they have to go 2-1 these next 3 games if they want to make playoffs.
Yeah, I just don't think they will.
I don't think so either, but I'm with Max. Kingsbury. It's going to be interesting. All right. I will say Kirk Cousins did have like a pretty good game. I think for him, he's doing enough to keep them winning, that's all you got to do sometimes. Now, we'll see once it gets to the big moment.
Justin Jefferson's contract is going to be outrageous. He probably will be the highest paid receiver.
Yeah, I will say for Minnesota, they're 6-1. Looking at the schedule, though, I don't really see an impressive win. The best team they've beaten was Miami, but that was without Tua Tagovailoa. So the next one would be Arizona, which they're 3-5. And other than that, they beat Chicago, they beat New Orleans, they beat Detroit, and they beat Green Bay. None of those teams really are that good. So, I mean,
normally Green Bay wins impressive, but not this year.
Yeah, right. So they're beating who they're supposed to beat, but I haven't really seen them go against who I think is legit playoff competition yet.
They have
two of the next
game.
3.
Who they play?
They played after Washington. They played the Bills and the Cowboys.
Okay, so yeah, there you go. When they play the Bills and Cowboys, we'll get a good sense of where they're at then.
it's time to put up a shot. We'll see what Kirk Cousins does.
We're gonna go into it was a game. The Saints versus the Raiders. I mean, it was a game. I mean, they played. Well, one of the teams.
I would say,
other
did the
team
Raiders
won.
play?
One team played.
I was kind of shocked with how bad the Raiders played. I thought, they picked up a W last week. So I thought they were kind of going up, and the Saints were, have been losing a lot of games. So I really didn't expect this dominating result. But I also think for the Saints, I think Andy Dalton's pretty much locked up that quarterback spot for the foreseeable future. I wouldn't anticipate Jameis starting many more games this year. So unfortunately, Jacob will be technically right in his preseason prediction yet again.
It's always good to be right.
Yeah, I don't think we should count on him being right.
It
though.
counts. You never added the caveat on how it happens. It just has to happen.
You disgust me for wanting to accept that.
I'm accepting it.
But for the Raiders, this is a terrible start for Josh McDaniels.
Mm-hmm.
But he deserves that.
Devontae Adams only had 1 catch, 3 yards. What's going on there?
Absolutely.
I
criminal.
noticed. I absolutely noticed. I told Jacob when Andy Dalton started, I said that's when Alvin Kamara's going to start doing better because he actually utilizes running backs unlike Jameis. But for
Kamara
the
got his first 3 touchdowns of the year.
Yeah. Needed them too.
Needed all of
But
them.
for the Raiders, Derek Carr is starting to not play so well. If this season really goes off the rails, he'll start the whole season. They don't have a better backup on the team. But for the future, what did they do? They just traded for Devontae Adams, whose best friend, one of his best friends is Derek Carr. But if Derek Carr plays poorly to where they have to consider another quarterback, what do they do? Do they keep him just because they traded for Devontae Adams?
And how big's his contract and dead cap and all that?
Well, I think he's up for an extension, isn't he? So I think that's another factor.
April, he signed a 3-year, $121 million contract.
Oh, he did. He did this past April, so I guess they're stuck with him for next year.
So, yeah, unless you could trade, suck up the dead cap. But if we were to talk about it, I don't think he would go here. But I would say Brady and is friends with McDaniels. McDaniels was his coordinator for many years. McDaniels might be like, let me see if I can get Brady or something to come over. Not saying it will happen, but, just throwing it out there. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, let's go into Max's team, the Eagles, with another dominant performance over the Steelers. Yes, it was the Steelers, but the Eagles, really dominated that game, which they should, and showing you what they got.
Well, I think the most important thing is that Jalen Hurts showed that he can make all the passes required of an NFL quarterback. A couple of those touchdowns to A.J. Brown were absolute perfect throws. At the beginning of the season, we said he was the question mark. I don't think it's a question no more. I think he's solidified himself, and the Eagles, I think he's going to be the future quarterback. I don't think they have to even look at the quarterbacks in the next draft. So, and that's really a luxury because they do have the Saints first-round pick as well, which is looking like a borderline top 10 pick. So now they really have an embarrassment of riches right now, especially when we look at the depth on this team. I mean, right now they really have no weaknesses.
Very true. I was going to say, you could always trade down and just get more, add to the depth.
Which how he could. And they did just trade for Robert Quinn, too, for only a 4th. So, I mean, the defense is getting even better. Every move Harry Roseman made this offseason has pretty much nailed it. He traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He has 4 interceptions. It leads the league. He signed Hassan Riddick. He has 5.5 sacks. Leads the team. James Bradbury signed him. I think he leads the NFL with lowest passer rating allowed.
It's him with J.C. Horn, I think.
Yeah, one of those two. A.J. Brown, I mean, enough said. He's been dominating. He's on pace for 1,600 yards. And then he bet on Jalen Hurts, who has shown he's legit.
Great move to them. Other underrated storyline. Not saying he's going to win it, but I think after that performance puts him back kind of in that MVP discussion because now they're 7-0. He had a really good performance. It's still between Mahomes and Allen, but he puts himself back into. We gotta just keep an eye on it.
I mean, if he keeps making throws like this, he's gonna be talked about.
If they go 17-0, I mean, really.
Dude, if they go 17-0, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, let's be real.
You gotta hand it to him at that point.
Right. I would do a quick thing for the Steelers. I would just say, look, they're going to be a losing season. They're a bad team this year. But to get it, they did really well on today's trade deadline to get a 2nd-round pick for Chase Claypool. and not even the Ravens second round pick. They got the Bears second round
that
pick, which is going to be a higher first round pick.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
was such
say.
a such an overpayment by the Bears.
For Claypool, who I mean, he hasn't been bad, but he hasn't exactly been great either. So I think the Steelers nailed it. And plus, the Steelers, they draft receivers. When they draft receivers, anybody they draft is good, so they don't need Claypool.
I don't get it by the Bears because like you're not going to playoffs, so why would you trade that? Like, yes, do you need a receiver? Yeah, but you're not in a position where that's a playoff saving move. So I don't get why you're trading a second rounder for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't totally fine with a third round pick.
And according to NFL.com, Eagles have the first and second best corners.
Yeah, I would say the cornerback duo is just lights out. I mean, if the Eagles keep playing like this, I mean, I've said it a week, but they are a legit Super Bowl contender. And I think with the NFC being the way it is, I think they easily win the NFC right now.
Oh, they definitely are.
We're going to go into our next game as the Tennessee Titans have another big, it is a big kind of.
It's it's big in terms of
Tennessee Titans. They move 5-2 and get an even more commanding lead on their division.
You want to hear a disgusting stat here? The quarterback duel they had in this game, the QBR they had was 4.4 versus 7.1.
Well, Malik wasn't needed. You just hand the ball
No,
off.
Malik only passed it 10 times. Derrick Henry had his what did they say, fourth consecutive 200-yard game against the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a running back dominate a particular team.
No, when Derrick Henry sees a divisional opponent, he gets excited.
Yeah, he gets very excited.
I believe Derrick Henry also broke Eddie George's rushing touchdown total this week.
He broke something with his,
I mean, this game was essentially hand off to Derrick Henry, get the first down, win the game.
Now
Easy.
that the Titans won and the Colts lost, I easily
every team but the Titans lost.
I say it's easily the Titans division now. I don't see how Tennessee loses the division at this point.
There's no way. It would be an epic collapse. I mean, they have such a commanding lead in the division right now.
Like, they're probably going to lose this week because they play the Chiefs, but I mean, the rest of most of the season schedule is easy besides the Eagles.
The second highest team in this division is the Colts, and they beat them twice already.
Yep.
Good job once again, Mike Rabel, just pulling out another division title. Might be getting another division title, what it looks like. We'll move on to next team, the team we just talked about, the Colts, losing to the Commanders. Heineke pulling it out. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries, 76 yards. McLaurin, 113 yards, 6 receptions.
I actually thought the Colts could have won this game if they actually threw the ball more. I didn't think Sam Ehlinger actually was that bad.
And Michael Pittman had that crucial drop in that last drive.
Which he would have gotten he probably would have gotten right up to field goal range.
Yeah, he would have gotten close too. I mean, that was a killer drop.
Now, we'll give Taylor Heineke credit. It's 2 weeks in a row. He's been pretty clutch. I would say if they play Minnesota and then the Eagles, I'd say if he wins one of those two games, he'll probably be the starter for the foreseeable future. If they lose both of those games, then we'll see. But he's definitely playing his way to taking Wentz's job there. Again, like if he plays terrible against the Eagles, they may switch back. But Washington 4-4, so the NFC East has no team worse than 500. So no more NFC least. But another thing I also love is that not only do they try to make Carson Wentz a scapegoat, they try to make Matt Ryan a scapegoat. Now they fired their offensive coordinator today, Marcus Brady. So now they're trying to make him the scapegoat. Eventually, they're going to run out of people to blame besides Frank Reich and Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay. You got to share some of this blame with your the way you run this team.
That quarterback carousel, like I said, it's really them and the Panthers about who's going to get the most quarterbacks and eventually find one that works.
Look, if they had just kept Wentz, they wouldn't be at the playoff race already. Now, I'm not saying they would be leading the division, but they would be better than what they're doing right now.
I think they would at least be a contender.
Right. I think Irsay's ego kind of got in the way of that. Not that Wentz is great or anything, but still much better than what they had this year by far. His season last year, they'd be begging for his season this year.
This is the same owner who refused to get Peyton Manning a defense and Andrew Luck in the offensive line.
Well, it goes back to, please tell me the last time a meddling owner has done very well in the NFL. We've seen this before with Jerry Jones. The second he lost Jimmy Johnson, Cowboys have won how many playoff games?
They won the Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, I believe.
Bowl, but it was pretty much Jimmy Johnson's team.
They did, but right. I'm sorry. Like, everybody has said, we could have coached that team to the Super Bowl.
Right. Once that core left, we've seen it happen. They haven't won a Super Bowl since VHS tapes were around.
When the Eagles said it, these kids weren't born the last time you went to a conference.
Yeah.
Let's go into the next game. It was the 49ers with no surprises beating the Rams.
Should the Rams start calling Jimmy Garoppolo daddy?
They need to.
I mean, man. I mean, it
It's
might
like
be
8-1 last like 9 games or something. I mean, when Jimmy Garoppolo sees the Rams, he sees a W except for that playoff.
Yeah, I'd say the only time they really beat him was that playoff game, but that was still a close game for the most part. But the Rams
defense picks off at Stafford, they beat in the Super
Mhm.
Bowl.
Yeah, right. But the Rams still look pretty bad. Matt Stafford still doesn't look right. The run game for the Rams still is really atrocious. And the passing game, aside from Cooper Kupp, still not good. Defense hasn't lived up to expectations. So this is going south fast for them if they don't turn it around. They did get Van Jefferson back, didn't even register a target this game, but that should open up some things for the future. But
Once he gets up to game speed.
yeah. But they're in the same boat as Tampa Bay. As if they don't pick it up soon, it's going to spiral fast, I think.
And
True.
like I say, you're 49ers, your return on investment for Christmas McCaffrey is already paying off.
Dude, that was a good throw in that touchdown. That was a pretty good throw.
Wow, it was a beaut.
had the hat trick of touchdowns, man.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah, he had all.
the 49ers dominated this game, and Debo Samuel didn't even play. Can you imagine when they have him and McCaffrey, all the things Kyle Shanahan can do?
Oh, he's gonna be salivating at the heck. He might have McCaffrey throw the touchdown to Debo, or do like an option style with both of them and give him the pitch just in
You
case.
could do some fun Wildcats. Have Christian McCaffrey there, the Wildcat. You know.
I said, McCaffrey stay healthy, man. Those picks mean nothing to the 49ers if McCaffrey stay healthy.
Oh yeah, that's
And like I said, this is not only gonna help him this year. It's gonna help Trey Lance too. If you got a running back like McCaffrey, that only helps a young quarterback.
I think this team might be. This is one of the late spurts teams that right now, I would say at this moment, if there's a team that would contend against the Eagles, I think it would be the 49ers. Would be
Oh,
They
the
could,
team.
yeah.
At this moment, I think out of all the teams, the 49ers
Offense
would be
and
the most
defense.
given.
Nick Bosa is just a monster.
Well, the 49ers last year also picked it up near the end of the year, and I could see that definitely happening this year.
Yeah, like I said, because their offense, the Eagles' defense is good, but man, these weapons, Ayuk, McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo.
The only thing is, I think I trust Jalen Hurts to pull it out more than I do Jalen Garoppolo, especially in a defensive struggle type of game. I think
yeah.
that benefits Hurts more than Garoppolo.
Yeah, I think the 49ers defense and offense I think they can match up well with the Eagles if Garoppolo actually plays well.
We're gonna go into our next game. It was Jacob and I's Giants taking a loss to the Seahawks.
What do you
But
got?
it's all right. Giants are still 6-2.
I mean, when you
And
play
you know,
Geno
they're-
Smith, I mean, what do you
When
expect?
you go
play-
to
we
that
played the
buzzsaw, when you go into that buzzsaw, it's hard to come out unscathed.
Now, I remember when the season started, we were all high on Geno. We all say he was going to be this good. I know we all said it. I mean,
Oh,
I mean, if you
absolutely.
watch the tape back, I'm sure we spoke highly of the Seahawks.
I said
Yeah, we-
week 8,
yeah.
Seahawks first in their division, 5-3. Said it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah,
Nailed
I
it.
will never doubt Geno. Never.
But-
And for the Giants, it does help if your punt returner doesn't fumble twice.
Yes, but like I said, I told you last week, they've been playing a lot of these close games, and I said if they ever had lost a turnover battle, I think they could drop some of these games. So, and that proved to be really hurtful for them with the 2 punt fumbles there. So
And they also played in Seattle, so that's never an easy place to play.
I got to tell you, Pete Carroll, I mean, aside from Sirianni and Dayball, he's got to be up there for Coach of the Year.
I know this is I keep thinking, okay, this is a joke. This is going to
Yeah,
end.
I keep thinking it's going to stop, but they keep winning.
It's not. It's not. It's just simply
out,
not.
and I'm like, oh man, this
I mean,
Geno
now the
literally
question
win this
is,
position.
Was Russell Wilson holding the back? I mean, what if they played Geno the whole year last year? They probably would be in playoffs.
Now, I do think the 49ers will probably end up winning that division, but I mean, they could easily still make playoffs. I mean, I think they're right now, currently, they're a better team than the Rams. They're a better team than the Cardinals.
Oh yeah, no, with the way they're playing, they kept it up. Now, luckily, they still are going to have the picks from the Broncos,
Mm-hmm.
And the Broncos look like right now they're going to get a top 10 to top 15,
15-ish,
definitely
yeah.
top
Mhm.
15 pick. Does it happen that Geno is this just fool's gold? Geno has this
I
one good
mean,
year, then
it-
turns back into what we all expect him to be. And
Hey, in all honesty, he
next year
deserves
kind of
another year.
crashes and burns.
yeah,
I mean, he deserves it.
odds are yes, I do think he would return to his more standard play that we've seen. But I mean, if he keeps doing this, you pretty much have to give him another year. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
give up on a quarterback that's doing what he's doing. I just don't see that happening. Especially
Might
if
be
you win,
waiting.
especially if you win the division in a year, you won't even expect it to compete. You pretty much
He
have
was
to.
supposed to be the first pick. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if Geno does this, gotta give him a chance because this could be the redemption story of this century with Geno Smith at quarterback. But he's one touchdown away from a career high.
Hey,
really-
Seahawks play Cardinals, Buccaneers, Raiders, then Rams, Panthers. That's not too bad. Well, we would have thought the Buccaneers and Rams would be bad, but not right now.
That's
I
a potential
know.
5 straight wins right there.
I mean, that locks up playoffs for them with those wins. They might just do it and lock up playoffs. All right, let's go to our live game, the Monday night with the Bills versus the Packers. The Packers made it somewhat interesting at the end. Not really. The Bills, I felt, still had like
Yeah.
pretty good command of the game. But it's Bills versus Packers. Once again, Josh Allen pulling it out as the Bills move 6-1, and the Packers with it now 3-5.
Yeah, not statistically Josh Allen's best game. He had 2 picks, but I think in a lot of this game, the Bills just looked bored. I mean, they just knew this Green Bay team wasn't going to compete, so they didn't look that interested in this game. So I think this definitely wasn't the Bills at their best, and they still handled the Packers with relative ease. And the
Yeah, I mean-
Packers are looking like they're only a few losses away from just not making a playoff. It's just not looking good at all.
Guys, on the bright side, they might have a top 10 pick, but I guarantee you they still will not.
They won't
spend
take a
it on
receiver.
receiver. I still guarantee you. it
They'll
won't
take
be a
another
receiver.
like defensive end / linebacker hybrid, which they don't need.
Just amazing how long they can just ignore the receiver position.
It's just amazing. They're seem to hate Aaron Rodgers, yet they keep paying him
Yeah.
money. I'm like,
Uh,
I can't tell. Do you
Hey.
like this man or not? Like, I don't know.
I know you had Devontae Adams for years, but you could at least got him a decent number 2. You would do
Well,
that.
especially with some of the teams that have won recently, it's because they had a good number 1-2 punch.
You need firepower. Well, look at the Super Bowl last year. You had the Bengals, who had a 3-punch, 4 really if you count Joe Mixon. And then the Rams, who had Odell Beckham, Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. You need multiple options. And then right now for the Packers, really Aaron Jones is really the only like game-changing weapon they have.
You couldn't even make a trade during the trade deadline to get receivers.
Now, a second for Chase Claypool was a bit much, but I'm sure there were other receivers available for second-round picks, and you need somebody in there now. They play the Lions this week. If they lose this game, it's it's over. Let's just put it that way. Then they play the Cowboys, Titans, Eagles. I mean, that looks like 3 losses to me. Yeah, I think Packers fans, you go ahead and start looking at don't look at next year's receivers because you won't be getting a receiver because you never do.
The Monday night thriller, probably more of a shocker. It was the Browns rolling over the Cincinnati Bengals.
This
The
game
Browns
should.
just seem to own the Bengals. This is weird.
Mhm. Yeah, Joe Burrow's 0-4 for his career. And this game really showed how big of a piece Jamar Chase is to this offense. The offense looked out of sorts for pretty much the entire game. Didn't look good. And for the Browns, they desperately needed this win to keep them in relevancy for the playoff spot. I still don't think they'll get it, but Jacoby Brissett played a great game. Nick Chubb is continuing to be one of the best backs in the league. And Amari Cooper, not bad for a 5th-round pick there, Phil. Not bad at all. Chase Claypool, 2nd-round pick. Amari Cooper, 5th-round pick.
It doesn't help that the Cowboys are just begging someone to take him.
So dumb. I understand he costs a lot of money, but like, he's a good player.
I don't care. He's one of the best route runners in the league.
If Amari Cooper was on the Cowboys right now, I would buy them more as a threat.
I will give you a 5th-round easy. What, I got to pay this guy? Okay, cool. He can still route run, right? Route running is route running, and you're going to have to pay attention. But, good job to the Cleveland Browns. Bengals is going to be a little interesting. How long is Jamar gone for?
Probably about a month.
Okay, it's going to be interesting next couple games, but I think they'll figure something out.
They play the
That
Panthers and
first game-
Steelers next 2 weeks. They should win that. Then they have a bye week, I believe.
Mhm.
No, actually, sorry. They play the Panthers, then have a bye, then play the Steelers.
So that's good. So you at least got some to work on some things, and at least he got injured when it's going to be the bye. So that recaps another week of everything. Still on the watch out for the second coach fired. I think probably 2-3 more weeks till somebody gets fired at this point. And got some teams and some divisions kind of rounding out. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribe. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name's Legacy,
I'm Max.
Bobby.
Vitamin J.
and may the discussions begin. See you next time.